This is the WellFounder Podcast.
So, welcome to the show, Lynn. It's an absolute pleasure having you on today.
Savi, I am so glad to be here, and we've already been having some laughs in the green room, and here we are.
It's so true, man. It's so true. I love chatting to other podcasters because of it's more it's in the same zone in the same doing the same thing. So it's more familiar territory with me. But yeah, and today we're gonna be chatting about your company, which is called Petite to Queen. I pronounced that right, yeah. Petite to
Oh
Queen,
yeah.
yeah. Awesome. And I always like to kick off by asking my guests to, introduce yourself and tell us about you, and how you go into the work you do.
Yeah, well, I'm the joyful sales queen, and I've been in sales literally since I was a Girl Scout selling cookies. Depending on where you are in the world, maybe you don't have Girl Scouts, but I just love sales because it's how I get to help and serve others and create lasting impact. And I believe that even if you never work a day in your life in sales, sales skills will help you in all aspects of your career, your business, and your life. So, petite to queen is really, that idea of going from being small to being the
Uh,
king or queen of your castle,
uh,
right? Of your kingdom. And it also represents that whole idea of that growth and diversity. So, yeah, I just love sales. And for anybody who doesn't, I'm here to tell you that sales truly can be joyful.
You see, yeah, this is the perfect podcast for me because I'm a one of those ones that I've had to learn how to sell. I'm not like a natural salesperson, so I've had to, and I completely agree with you. For me, it's one of the most important skills you can have. Like if you know how to sell, you would not be hungry in your life anymore. You would never be. So this is like the perfect episode. And how big is your company? On your website, I see like you've got some five lovely ladies on the website. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I've got a great team that have been with me since the beginning.
Hmm.
And so the two are my nieces,
Oh,
happen to be my niece Amanda, who has her master's in the music business, and my niece Rachel, who has her PhD in sociology. But it's been a really great group. Allison created all of our master branding.
hmm.
It's just she's our whole sort of look and feel. And Christine is this amazing artist, her actual artist, but she also does all of our video editing, creates new graphics. So really, I've been really fortunate to have just a phenomenal team these 8 years.
That is so cool. You got the family involved too, That's so cool. And I like how it's diverse. It's because I was thinking that they're like maybe sales consultants that work, in past part of your team. But I like that they've got their own roles in there. Very interesting. Very interesting. So what exactly do your clients hire you for then? What do they pay you?
Well, business owners hire me because they want to have consistent, repeatable, scalable sales and business growth.
Mm,
And they want it to feel natural. They want it to be a great experience for them and their clients.
mm,
And they're looking to build those lifelong relationships that you build through sales.
mm. And that's very interesting because I know a lot of business owners are great at what they do, but they struggle with sales. I guess that's where somebody like you can come in and figure out. I'm sure you there's a lot of psychological stuff going on that stops people. Do you help them with that? As in help them get through their limiting
Well,
beliefs
I
and stuff
mean,
like that?
I'm
Yeah.
not a coach, I'm a consultant. I really help
Ah,
them with their sales process.
I
I
see.
mean,
I
really
see.
getting down to what's their client thinking. I mean, that's one of the first places that you have to start in
Ah,
sales because it's not about you. And yes, you need to know what your product and services are, how they help and serve your clients, how you bring your own authentic self and flair to it. But at the end of the day, you've got to reverse engineer that into your clients because
mm,
they make the decision, not you. So it's all about understanding what do they want, need, or lack, in relation to your product or service. Why does it matter to them? What problem does it solve? What thorn in their side will it remove? What solution does it provide? What's in it for them, so they can what is it that they get to achieve? What's that goal, the dream, the initiative,
Mm.
that result when they work with you? And so that really frames everything throughout your engagement and the experience that you give to your clients, from that first attraction to the connecting to having conversations, asking discovery questions, to having them say yes, guiding them to that yes. And then that's just the beginning of the sale, because now you get to execute on that and deliver on your promises.
That's the exciting part, and that's true because a lot of people think tend to rest when when you've landed or closed the deal, which we're gonna talk about. You're spot on. That's when the real challenge actually begins. And so if you don't want to get churn and all that stuff, so that's very very interesting. So I see you help them kind of like fine tune everything from start to finish and make sure that I see that's a very valuable skill to have because I know when I started my own business, I didn't know anything like processes. I just dove in. I suspect that's very common with most of your clients. They don't have that clear sales process and all that thing going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really common, especially with small businesses, that the business owner has some kind of special magic elixir that works for them, but at a certain point they can't be doing the sales and running the whole
Mm.
business, right? So they try to bring salespeople in, and maybe they're looking for that unicorn, that magic person who's just gonna be able to hit the ground running and be successful. Well, that's sort of like, having a magic wand. It just doesn't happen. So by really working through their sales strategy, they actually are able to build this out so they can bring salespeople in
Mm.
and give them the tools and the roadmap so they can be successful and, yes, hit the ground running. And that grows their business, right? And they can bring in the right people when they've sorted that. They can support them in a way that fuels that salesperson, that fuels their business, that
Mm.
fuels their clients.
I love it. It's not like handing over something you don't like doing to somebody and getting them to do it very well too. So that is super valuable. And you talk about closing more deals with ease. I find that concept very, very interesting. What does that mean to you? And what
Yeah,
does yeah.
so the closing more sales, at the end of the day, what you're always doing is guiding your prospect to make a decision to become a client.
Mm.
You don't pitch, okay? Because this is truly not about you, it's about them. A good salesperson is going to wear their detective hat. They're going to ask questions, they're going to ask discovery questions, and they're going to ascertain what's really going on.
Mm.
Um, is this something they can help with? Is this a good fit for their product or service? Is this going to benefit their client? Is this the right fit? And do they want to work with them?
Mm.
Because sometimes there are some people that you just don't want to work with, and life is too short. And disruptive clients can actually drain a business. They can cause so much disruption that literally it's that 80-20 rule that, they're 20% of your volume and they're causing you 80% of the work. So that's in a position where you do what I call a no offer offer. So you don't ever get to that point. You never set it up to make an offer. And so that's what's really important. And also that it's many people are not going to make an immediate decision. And that's good, because that means that they're going to process it, they're going to think about it, they're going to come back with some other questions. And I want everyone to remember, a no initially is a no for now. It's rarely a
Mm.
no forever. And so you want to continue to nurture that and create those opportunities for them to say yes. Because often someone will come in and they'll be looking for information, or they're getting that first sort of feeler out there, and they won't move forward. But 3 to 6 months later, and you've continued to nurture that relationship, they become a yes.
I like that. Actually prefer that a lot because I know there's a lot of pressure on salespeople to hit targets and stuff like that. What are your thoughts around that? Because I'm guessing you're not leaning towards doing that.
Well, the thing is that sales should always feel like you're having a natural conversation,
Mm,
that you're really interested in the other person. I call it worthy intent, that you show up, that you're curious, that you see them as another human being, and you want to find out what's happening and if you can provide some advice. And it's really about building the relationship. Sometimes it could be that you make some introductions for them or you point them in another direction,
I
but
see.
you also secure like a minimal actionable commitment for the next meeting when you have them in front of you or on the Zoom, whatever it happens to be. And so you're building that relationship. You're showing them what it's going to be like to work with you, that you are a true partner, that you've got their back, that you're in it with them. And that really builds to it makes it so easy for them to learn how to like, know, and trust you and to say yes. So it's not about, um, when you look at hitting numbers, so everyone and every business, you need to be generating, but what are you doing to be having those conversations? If you're not having sales conversations every day, then you're not going to be filling that funnel. If you're expecting people to make an instant decision, that means that you're constantly spinning your wheels and wasting your time, energy, and resources to be a one hit wonder, right? And those are the relationships, people who make that snap decision, they're also some of the worst clients because they can't execute, they don't stay with you, and within a month to 3 months, they're off to the next shiny object. And you weren't actually able to accomplish anything to show results
Mm.
and to have, to really be able to build that case study, those references for your business, right? So when you really are looking for the win win and building the relationship, that requires those conversations and really coming with that go-giver spirit. And it pays you back in huge dividends.
I love it. I really like your approach to selling. It's very natural, very human, like you say, which is literally just having a conversation with somebody. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. One question that came to mind is, what if you're having a lot of no's with your sales than yeses? What are your thoughts around that?
So a no is no for now.
Yeah,
Rarely is it a no for forever.
yeah, yeah.
And so I want you to think about those no's. What were those no's? I recently had someone who said, "Well, I've decided I have a really good friend who's going to help me with my sales," and it's like wonderful. I'm so happy for you. I want to stay connected, and I will be reaching out over time to see how everything's
It's
going
going.
and checking in. And if I
Mm,
have some assets that I think would be valuable to you, I'd love to be able to send them your way.
mm,
So I have her on my thing because this is not an uncommon thing. Well, I've got a friend who's going to help me do this. Now, at the end of the day, that really doesn't help you build your sales and your business to be able to truly build it and be scalable. And what happens is that people will come back to me 3 months, 6 months down the
mm,
road. And it's like, gosh, I'm in the exact same place that I was when I talked to you 3 months, 6 months. Could I work with you? And
mm.
it's like, of course, you know. And so I want everyone to think that a no is a no for now. People are busy. They've got other things going on. They've got other agenda items. And people who stay focused on things that they're working through a core initiative that they need to get done, they're the people who are going to execute with you when they get started.
Mm.
They're the people that you're going to be able to give fantastic results for. They're going to give you reviews, they're going to give you testimonials, and they will become golden referral partners. So those no's are a no for now. Keep the relationship. Ask for permission to continue to send them things that you think might be of interest to them. Keep that door open. And as you do that, you'll find that and that great experience that they had with you, that also means that they feel good about you, and someone else may come to them who has, and you go, I know who you should talk to. I've literally had people do that. I know who you should talk to. And they send me an introduction to someone.
Very interesting.
So it's about being showing up with that worthy intent that they are another human being, you truly care, and you're curious, and it makes all the difference in the world when you put that kind of just genuine kindness out there. It comes back.
I never thought about nurturing that way, but that is such a very interesting thing. I never thought about in terms of them, keep staying in touch with them and then even referring clients to you, even though they don't work with you. That is very powerful stuff right there because of they already know that you do what you do, and if somebody comes to mind, very interesting. Very, very good. That I know a lot of people don't nurture their sales prospects. They just tend to forget them and jump
Yeah.
onto the next lead.
No,
Yeah.
that's the worst, because when you don't follow up, you are basically giving 80% of your potential business to your competitors.
Hmm.
Because when you do follow up, you're top of mind.
Hmm.
I've also had it come up where someone has said, oh, I know who would be a great speaker at this event,
Hmm.
because I met Lynn and she stayed in touch. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it just, the ripple effect for all the different things is amazing. But it's because you're showing up and you're giving them value, things that matter to them. You're not doing just some lame-o, hey, I want to move this to the top of your inbox. Hey, have you reconsidered? No, I mean, deliver value, things that matter to them that will help move them forward. And everyone has this. You and I are doing a podcast right now. This becomes an asset for me, for you, and this can be part of something that you put in a follow up cadence. Hey, this is a great episode. It's, go right to this point. This is a really terrific, go speed up to 10.1 in the show. And this nugget is going to help you in your business and move you forward this week. You know, I mean, that's the type of thing that people, they appreciate. And even when they don't respond, they've seen and heard you, and it's registered, and you're actually building that relationship brick by brick.
I love it. I love that you actually use the podcast as a reference because that's exactly what we do here. We use podcasting as nurturing tools here over here. So that is spot on. Awesome. You really kind of opened my eyes towards sales because of the whole nurturing thing. Because I am guilty of the whole first touch thing. I'd never get back to them after the first touch. But that is very interesting. You put it that way. Huh.
Yeah, well,
Interesting.
it can be hard to keep following up with people when they ghost you. And one of the things that it's not about you. Okay, they're busy. Number one, like 90% of the time, the reason is that they're busy. Now, it's possible there could be something else that they're not interested and they just are ignoring you and they just don't tell you they're not interested. But 90% of the time, it's because they're busy. You're busy. Like, I literally was talking to someone the other day who is going, okay, I need help with my follow up. I did this marketing cruise in January and I made 450 there people were at this on this cruise, and I have yet to follow up with any of them. It's like, okay, yeah. Well, you need to, you were able to meet all these different people, and granted, some of them you could have met extremely briefly. That's a large group, but you were on a whole cruise like for a week with these people. So you encountered them, but you're going to have to start by reminding them, because it has been a while. But just because it's been 5 months doesn't mean that you can't start the follow up process, because you've been busy. I can guarantee you they've been busy. And so it's a great way to get started at any time. Don't think, oh gosh, I didn't follow up in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. They've been busy. And don't start with, hey, I've been busy. They don't care. They don't care about what's been going on with you. They care about what is important to them.
Mm.
So always frame all of your outreach and your follow up. Follow up and outreach are very closely related. The difference is that follow up applies after you've had a one on one meeting. In my
Mm.
mind, that's how I clarify it, whether it's over Zoom or in person, where you've actually had, uh, you know, a real call with them, a talk about what's going on and um, in their world and their business. So, but the key thing is to always lead with why it matters to them,
Mm,
what's in it for them, and it's not about you at all.
mm. Love it. This has been an awesome, awesome convo. I've really learned so much. You've given me a really different perspective on sales, especially that nurturing side of things, turning them into potential opportunities, not necessarily direct opportunities, but other opportunities can come from them. That is super powerful. I always like to wrap up with the final tip from our guests. I mean, you've delivered so much, but if there's one thing that you could leave us with regarding our fine tuning our sales process, or what would that be?
It would definitely be to think about your follow up and to apply your client thinking, what they want, need, or lack, why it matters to them, so they can, to your follow up and
Mm,
create that cadence and those templates so that you can have those at hand. And that way, when you are ready to do a follow up, you're not just dumping them into a drip campaign. You can take the pieces that matter to them. Because when you've asked them questions and had that conversation, you can identify what are the things that are most important to them. And then you literally have everything set up and you just go, okay, I'm going to grab this template, copy paste, add a little customization, and you're done in 5 minutes. And you've been able to follow up in a personalized way with something that matters to them and do it in a number of different ways. Don't just do email, don't just DM people. Uh, really think about it's not next to me. Here it is, picking up your phone and making a phone call and leaving them a voice message, telling them about the value and that you're going to send them an email and then drop it in an email. And so
mm,
you're basically doing a two hit within 2 minutes. You leave them a 30-second message and then you send the email. And
mm.
that's a dynamic duo. And so that's one of your follow up steps. And, really build that out. It's going to serve you well and you're going to close more sales with ease and joy.
I love it. I love it. And there's something I learned recently about sales is that it's not the money is in the follow up, not necessarily the initial sales call that you have. So powerful stuff. Lynn, this has been an absolute blast. Where can our viewers go learn more about you, possibly work with you? What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, Savi, the best thing they can do is get my Get More Clients checklist. So this is really going to look at your sales strategy and you'll be able to see if there's areas that you're rocking it and areas that maybe you've got some gaps and maybe some areas like, ooh, I need to work on that. And so you can get that on our website, petite, the digit 2 queen.com/checklist. It's also right there underneath our homepage banner. Easy peasy, grab that. It's going to help you really identify what is the first thing that you should be doing to improve your sales.
Love it. And I'm gonna leave all of that in the show notes anyway. So thank you so much once again. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.